Oh, the past is everything we were. Don't make us who we are. So I'll dream until I make it real, and all I see is stars. It's not until you fall that you fly. When your dreams come alive, you're unstoppable. Take a shot, chase the sun, find the beautiful. We will glow in the dark, turning dust to gold, and we'll dream impossible. I will chase, I will reach, I will fly until I'm breaking. I'm a cage like a bird in the night. I know I'm changing.
Hello, Cookie.
Into something big, better.
Hi, Cookie. Say hello when you join in so I know who's online. Hi, Shanique. So I'll just give others a few moments before we start. Can I continue with the song while we wait for others? Hi, Pulani. So it's 2 minutes. Let's give them 1 minute and then we'll start.
And if it takes 1,000 lives, then it's worth fighting for. It's not until you fall that you fly.
Hi, Tato. Welcome, welcome.
Take a shot, chase the sun, find the beautiful. We will go in the dark, turning dust to gold.
5 people, I think we can start. Ne?
Impossible.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Demystifying Spiritual Gifts and a Saturated Market. Thank you so much for joining in. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lindiwe Ntibukhelang, and I'm a life coach. I specialize in self-discovery as well as personal development. So yeah, let's get right into it. So let's start off with demystifying spiritual gifts. Now, a lot of people assume when we say spiritual gifts, most people assume you're referring to ubungoma, ubunyanga, buprofeti, you know, the healing kinds of spiritual gifts. But in actual fact, when your spirit was formed, when it was designed, at that particular moment in time, there was a reason why you were created. There's a reason why your spirit or your soul was actually formed. And that reason is actually your gift. It is your purpose. It's your reason for your existence onto this earth, right? So when we say spiritual gifts, we are not just talking about ubungoma, ubusangoma, ubunyanga, buprofeti, the commonly known spiritual gifts, but rather we are talking about what did your creator intend with you when you were made, right? So now a lot of people are scared to go into their mission, you know, which is the reason why they're here, because you'll hear someone saying, no, I don't want to go into, let's say, beauty industry because it's a saturated market. When in actual fact, when you were created with a purpose, and that means you're already created with a crowd that you are meant to serve. That crowd or that market, we can call it a crowd, we can call it a market, but they are there to be served by you, right? They're there to be served by you. So you fearing to go out because the market is saturated means you are not living in your element. It means you are not being true to yourself. You are not being true to your purpose, right? So I'll give an example let me give a simple example with myself, right? So I left corporate to coach full time, and I never in my life thought I'd be baking for money. I was just baking because I love baking, I love cooking for people, and people now all of a sudden would come to me and say, Lindiwe, can you please make me 5 liter of scones, or can you please cook X, Y, and Z meal? And I could have easily said, oh guys, in Gauteng there are 1,000,000 people cooking and baking, so I'm not going to go into that. And that would mean that those people who need to be served by the food that I've made are no longer being served. So there's quite a lot of ladies that I'm seeing online, and if you have ever made umqombothi, or if you've ever had umqombothi, right, I'll use that as an example. You'll know that with umqombothi, you can have the exact same ingredients and 2 different people making it. Same fire, same pot, but 2 different people making it with the exact same recipe and ingredients, but it will never be the same, right? So uPhindile can make umqombothi, and uSophie can also make umqombothi, and some people will prefer umqombothi kaPhindile. Other people will prefer umqombothi kaSophie, right? Why? Because there's also, when uSophie was made, there was already a crowd that needed to be served by that gift of her making umqombothi. So imagine now, let's say you are a security guard and you don't want to go into the beauty industry because you think the market is saturated. But now, those people who need you to paint their faces, to paint their eyebrows and make them look like they don't have blemishes, or make them feel good, make them look extra pretty, they are not getting that service from you because you are not in your element, right? And you don't only have one spiritual gift. That's another thing that we normally have a misconception of, that a spiritual gift is only that one thing. It's never one thing, because you were not created here on earth to just do one thing. When you serve, you also get served, right? Let me go through and see if there are any questions. I see hellos. Hi, Kokitsu. I think I've already said hi to you. Chichi, I've said hi. Bulani, I've said hi. Hi, Tato. Hi, Lufuno. Hi, Nabisa. Okay, so let us continue, right? And also, us being in or following our spiritual gifts does not mean we all of a sudden need to start a business. So imagine that one of your spiritual gifts is for you to be a PA. Have you ever seen that PA that everybody's like, you know what? Yes, Mr. Thompson is the CEO, but Mr. Thompson is the CEO, but actually, Cindy the PA is the one who owns this company, because without Cindy, nothing happens. And imagine now Cindy decides, oh no, actually I want to go and open up a hair salon. And the hair salon doesn't succeed because it's not one of her spiritual gifts. She just out of panic wanted to start a business of starting a hair salon, doing people's hair, and she doesn't really make that much from that hair salon because it's not in line with her spiritual gift. Now, as a PA, you could find that Cindy gets to travel all over the world because she needs to accompany Mr. Thompson when he goes on his trips, and she gets to fulfill that desire of wanting to travel the world. You could find that maybe she also loves helping out with corporate social investments, and she doesn't have to go out and look for one because there's already one in the organization, right? And everybody's happy when Cindy is there. So I just wanted to say the market is not saturated. Everybody has their crowd. Even if there's a lot of people that are doing what you want to do, you have your own market, because when you were created, if that is your spiritual gift and you are in line with it, then you already have a crowd of people that you need to serve, similar to how you already have a crowd that you need to be served by, which you might not even know about, right? So the other day I was stressing about a cell phone. My cell phone was giving me problems, and there was a gift, a spiritual gift that I needed to follow and do. And I was like, oh, but I'm not trained for this. Oh, but I can't do it. And I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to go out and do this thing. And guess what? Because of me following through with that spiritual gift, I actually got a cell phone as a thank you gift as a result, right? So your spiritual gifts will make sure that you are provided for. Your spiritual gifts will make sure that you are served and that you serve. So Tato, you're saying how does one align, or how do you know? So there's very, so actually you already know. Sometimes we like, it's easier to think that we don't know, and sometimes it's easier when we want someone else to tell us how we should follow our spiritual gifts or what is our spiritual gifts. But a lot of the times you'll find that you are already doing your spiritual gifts even without knowing it. So you might find that, for example, let's say one of your spiritual gifts is to do people's hair. As a simple example, you'll find that every time your friends are coming to, every time your friend needs to do hair, they always think of you. Every time somebody thinks of hair, they think of Tato, right? And you are not even aware that that is one of your spiritual gifts. But a lot of the times, if it's your spiritual gift, it'll keep following you until you actually start taking cognizance of it and start listening. So as part of my coaching sessions, I also help people to discover themselves, to discover what is that reason why you are actually born onto this earth. What is your purpose, right? And then help you to get in alignment with that purpose, so that when you live in alignment with your purpose, it gets with ease, you know. Not necessarily that it'll be easy, but it'll have ease with it, because it is who and what you are. So I'm not sure if that answers you, Tato. Okay. And sometimes, guys, we don't want to get into our spiritual gifts, never mind a saturated market, but because we think that that particular role is not good enough, right? Only to find that if you actually did follow your spiritual gift and you were in alignment with your spiritual gift, then you would have what you desire. You would have what you require in your life to live the kind of a life that you require. So let's give an example with herding cows, right? So imagine you are a security guard, or you're an accountant, and you are frustrated at work. You are literally mixing up the numbers. Instead of typing 134, you are typing 143, and that gives a completely different image altogether, because the image looks good, you know, the title sounds nice, when you actually, your spiritual gift is to herd inkomo, right? And if you were actually herding those cows, you could find that I'm giving an example. I don't even know about Mazibuk. And Uba Mazibuk was like, you know what, ever since you've started taking care after my cattle, and then as a result, here's 5 cows for you to grow and also have isbaya egwe sako. And because you work for me, now we'll give you groceries. All that you need to do is take care of income. Now he gives you a piece of land as well. So now you've got land, you've got cattle that you never had to buy because you actually were in line with your spiritual gift. Being served by your spiritual gift, he in turn is also taking care of you. Maybe Bab Mazibugo knows someone who actually provides scholarships, and now you don't even have to worry about university fees for your child. Why? Because you are in your element, you are following your spiritual gift. You didn't say, oh no, in this place, you know, so I'm not gonna go because there's just too many heads boy around the village, so I'm not gonna go. No, there's just too many of them, right? And that actually serves you better than you being in a role that doesn't serve your spiritual gift. And maybe you are actually not even a night person. And for you to be a security guard, sometimes there's night shift, you know? During night shift, you might find that your body doesn't function at all. And now your wife is upset because she can't get what she needs to get, because you are grumpy all the time, because the job is just frustrating for you, because it's not in line with your spiritual gift. And the only reason you are not going there is because there is a saturated market from what you think, not realizing that Bab Mazibugo is your market, and him being that market is actually what your soul requires to grow. So yes, I just wanted to demystify, first of all, spiritual gifts, that spiritual gifts are not just things that have to do with healing, things that have to do with ukuhlahluba abantu, things that have to do with uktwasa, things that have to do with ubunyanga. But spiritual gifts are actually that gift that you were given when you were born, that thing that your creator said, you know what, the earth needs such and such a gift, or earth needs such and such a service, and in order for me to provide that service, I need to have somebody who's going to go out and give that service to my people in earth. So imagine, for example, you don't want to go into fashion because you believe, first of all, you don't have the qualifications, and there's just too many people out there that are busy with fashion. When maybe your spiritual gift is to help people pick out outfits that will make them feel like $1 million, right? So sometimes you find that maybe you're that person that whenever there's a function, there's a wedding or there's a funeral or there's a party, everybody wants your opinion about, do I look good? Does this look good on me? Is my hair fine? Oh, should I wear this hat, or should I wear these shoes with this dress? Okay, I've got 3 sets of outfits. Which one should I choose? And every single time you find yourself choosing outfits for people, and you are not even aware that that is one of your spiritual gifts, when you could actually be the one person who goes and gives people this. Bye. Go watch TV. We have a visitor, guys. And you could be that person that actually goes out and helps people to choose their outfit. You might find that sometimes you go buy clothes all by yourself and it doesn't feel good. You're not even sure what to put together. You go there and you're like, oh my goodness, this shows my cellulite, or it shows my handles, or it makes me look skinny, or it makes me look fat. And you are that person that helps that person to go shopping, and you're like, you know what, what is your budget? Let me look at your closet. This closet does not describe you, does not define you. It is not you. We need to go. And it does not necessarily mean that it needs to cost an arm and a leg, right? And you go and you help them choose outfits, and you make them feel good just by your presence, your aura, how you choose the outfits, what you say to them. They look good, they wear the clothes, they pay you for that. And you have served, you have also been served. So now, lady, you are saying, how can we guide our children to identify their spiritual gifts? So now, lady, with children, actually, we don't even need to guide them to identify their spiritual gifts, because they already know their spiritual gifts. They're already living their spiritual gifts. But a lot of the times, we as adults, out of various aspects like fear, out of trauma that we ourselves have gone through, out of us wanting to protect our kids, we move our kids out of their spiritual gifts. So you might find that your child's spiritual gift is speaking and teaching, right? And they're always trying to teach and speak. And because you're the parent, you are tired from work, you get annoyed, like, oh, ya rasa when uhlala ukhuluma all the time. Like, can we just have peace? Or, hey, when are you like teaching? Man, yo, Mistress Joe, Mistress Jonas, you are always teaching. And the child grows up thinking, oh, actually, I should not be teaching, Oh, actually, I should not be talking, right? You find that, like, I've noticed, for example, with my own daughter, that hey, that child loves the kitchen. She loves the cooking and the baking. Yes, she's right here next to me. you know and initially I thought it was just a child being a child, and we'd make a joke and be like, oh, chef tea. But every single time there's me baking, she's there. She wants to mix. She wants to actually take part in the baking. And I've realized that, you know what, I may not know it, but maybe baking is one of her spiritual gifts, and let me allow her to live in that moment, right? So a lot of the times we don't need to actually help our kids identify their spiritual gifts, especially if they're still of a very young age, unless if we're now talking about when they're in their teens, because that's different. They've already gone through some traumas, they've already gone through some grooming as a result of life circumstances, family dynamics, school, what they get taught at school, and that grooms them into moving out sometimes of their spiritual gifts. But if your child is still little, then they definitely already know why they are here. It's just we as adults, we want life to be how we want, because sometimes we don't want our kids to experience what we experience because it didn't feel good to us. But sometimes it's actually exactly what they need for their own spiritual gifts to come into form. Let me read some more of the comments. So Silwana, you saying, I'm struggling with my gift even though I was told I just see two different people in jail. So Silwana, that happens quite a lot, especially when we have not yet discovered ourselves. It's a journey, guys. Discovering ourselves as an adult, it's not a one day thing, because what happens is, as you grow, so think of an onion. So an onion will have that small anyana thing in the center, and as you grow, you've got layers and layers that keep surrounding those spiritual gifts that are at the core of your being. You've got news that influence, you've got family dynamics, you've got relationships, you've got everything that happens around you that becomes a layer after layer after layer. So when you're an adult trying to discover yourself or trying to accept yourself, it's not just a one day thing. It's not just I've been told this is who and what I am, and that is what I'm going to do. But you then need to start a process of peeling those layers, right? Because the more you peel, the more it becomes clearer as to, who am I? What am I? And why am I where I am? Then all of a sudden, things that influence your being, then you start understanding, why do certain things happen the way that they do when they do. Sometimes you start even understanding why certain things happen when they do, and you start looking at them differently. So it's a process. It's not going to be a one day thing to just know who you are. And sometimes you are told who you are and it doesn't resonate with you because of the layers that you have. You are not yet there in terms of accepting it. So I'll make an example with myself. For the longest time ever, when I was growing up, right, my mom used to call me Gogo, and my dad used to call me Mkhekul. And it didn't mean much. I mean, parents give their kids nicknames all the time, right? So it was, Gogo, Gogo, Mkhekulu, Mkhekulu. That's what it was. And whenever I'd meet up with your traditional healing kind of people, they'd come and they say, Thokoza Gogo, and I'd be like, hey, Thokoza Gogo, what? Do I look like I'm old enough to be your grandmother? Like, my grandmother, like, calm down, right? And it took a while for me to actually accept that, yes, one of my spiritual gifts is healing. And only then did it make sense. The whole Gogo story and everything else that had unfolded in my life, only then did it make sense. So give yourself time. And if you need help, just shout. Let me see other comments. So Tato, you're saying that you've noticed with your kids, if you jokingly says she talks a lot, she withdraws. Yes, definitely. So a lot of the times, we as parents, we shape our kids out of their spiritual gifts. A lot of us as adults now, we are not in alignment with our spiritual gifts. We fear that the market is saturated because that is one of the layers that has been put on based on everything that happens. So think of it this way, for example, when you were a kid and you said, I want to be a nurse, right? Somebody in the family would be like, yo, why would you want to be a nurse, right? And instinctively then you go and move away from you wanting to be a nurse. Please don't move it. Thank you. Right? And then you instinctively want to go and...
Are you going to Wally, Danny?
Okay. Thank you. Then you instinctively move out of that, right? Or you'd find that you want to... You know, today I was actually having my lunch and there was beetroot, ne? And I just looked at how that beetroot was flooding my plate. It didn't say, oh, but this... Nana, please stop. Please stop. Okay, bye. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Mommy duties. And I looked at the beetroot and it didn't say, oh, but there's too many veggies in here and oh, I'm going to flood the plate, right? Instead, that beetroot just took the space it wanted. It was on that plate and it was there to feed me and it was there to feed me and it fed me and I enjoyed it, right? But a lot of the times because people, like for example, a lot of the main complaints with beetroot would be, oh, beetroot, everything will just be red. Okay, it's not red, but everything will just be red, right? And imagine if beetroot just stood back and be like, oh, any plate is so I'm not gonna go in there. Then it wouldn't serve. And sometimes some people will go out, even if the plate is full, the person will go out and put their beetroot outside on a side plate, right? So that it doesn't cover the food, but it still serves its purpose. So similar to us, if you go out into your spiritual gift, you find that even if it's saturated, there will be that crowd, your crowd, that comes out and says, you know what, I can see there's a lot of people doing this, but I want you on a side plate. I don't want you in this full plate where you're gonna now be like dilute everything and be flooded with everything. Instead, I want you on a side plate. So maybe instead of you catering, let's say cooking and catering is one of your spiritual gifts. Instead of you cooking and catering, I want you to be my personal chef. And yes, I know you haven't gone to a school of cooking, but I enjoy your meals. So I want you to be the one cooking my meals. And that person then, or that family then, gets served by your spiritual gift, which you would not have gone into if you are afraid that there's a saturated market out there. Let me see. Hey, Junior, she's just like, yeah, she's out there. She wants to be part of it. So Naledi, you're saying that for your concern is exactly that, them being influenced or derailed away from their gift. So with teens, the best thing to do is for them to know that they are good enough from home, that they have the support from home, because it's the same as with you as an adult. When you know yourself and you are comfortable in who and what you are, it doesn't matter what other people say out there. Yes, it might make you think, ooh, but that person said I'm fat. Am I really fat? But the way in which you will process it will be different to if at home you keep being told that you are fat, that, hey, when every 6 months we need to buy you clothes because you just keep gaining weight, right? And versus if at home you are made to feel comfortable in how you look, how you are, how you take care of yourself, and you are helped to take care of yourself in a way that is comfortable for you. When somebody else out there says you are fat, you'll easily be able to be like, how? Are we having Weight Watchers now? What value does you telling me I'm getting fat add to my life, right? Or you'll decide to dismiss it, or however you decide to deal with it. But for kids and teens, if they are fulfilled from home, if their cup is filled up from home, then it doesn't need to be filled up from outside. Instead, when they get outside, they pour out, they overflow. Their saucer is what they serve with, instead of them being filled up with what comes in from the outside. But we as parents, we really influence our kids from home even before they go outside. So yeah. Okay, so you're saying what I'm saying makes so much sense. So yes, ladies, and is there a gentleman? I don't think I saw a guy here. If there is, and I'm calling you a lady, Askisi Chief, right? And for those who are going to catch the replay, so there might be guys, so let me not say ladies and gentlemen actually. So yes, does it make sense what spiritual gifts are? Does it make sense what does it make sense that the concept of a saturated market is really based on the layers that we have been groomed with by society, by life, by traumas, by the fear of, I don't have money, I want to get money, by lots of things in our lives that we don't want to go out there and fulfill our spiritual gifts because we think that the market is saturated. So I hope this helped, and I hope that following this you will actually start looking into what are your spiritual gifts, how are you in line with your spiritual gifts, or how can you get in line with those spiritual gifts. And if you are not in line with your spiritual gifts, or you have no idea where to start, what to do to actually starting into looking at your spiritual gifts, give me a shout, right? I went through that journey, and I'm more than happy to help you go through that journey as well. In fact, on Saturday I am having a talk on Zoom where I'll be talking about how I stepped out of my job and stepped into myself, and it's a story of a rainbow. And that was part of me stepping into my spiritual gifts. You know, I left corporate as part of me stepping into my spiritual gifts because that is what was required from me in that particular moment in time. So please join in if you would like to be part of that discussion. It'll be on Zoom. It will not be recorded because, yeah, there's confidentiality, things that I need to keep in. It is actually on my page now, lady. There is an event on my page. I've put it up, but I'll be sure to reshare it again just so you can get it if you want. And if you want to try out the self-discovery, process, discovering who and what you are and what are your spiritual gifts, what can you do with your spiritual gifts, then you're welcome to give me a shout. I'm running a birthday special. My birthday was on the 27th of December, so as my way of giving back to people, I then decided to run a birthday special. So if you're interested in that, just let me know. That is a life coaching birthday special. So Shanique, you were saying most people are scared of the unknown. Definitely. And a lot of the times we are scared of the greatness that lies in us because everything outside of us says, no, you are not that great. How can you be that great when there's so much of the same thing out there? What makes you so special, right? And peeling the layers, right? Remember the onion? You peel the different layers. It's just that it's a pity with an onion, we cut it in half and then we chop and put it in the pot. But if you were to take an onion or even a cabbage and you peel the layers, you would realize that there's different layers to it. Some are thick, some are thin, some are wrinkled a bit. Sometimes if you look at an onion and you peel it, you'll find sometimes there's a thick part within that same layer and there's another very thin part. And all those layers, sometimes working through yourself, you'll need to work through that thick slice, and it's not nice. Peeling off the layers is sometimes not nice. I mean, it's like if you want to lose or gain weight, right? If you need to start, like, I'll make another example with me. I think it's easier making an example with me because it's something that I know personally. You know, it's easier to say I've gone through it, I've done this, I've done that. So for the longest time in my life, I had what they called eczema, right? And guys, okay, you can't really see my hands, but if you look at my hands, they don't look like the hands of a 30-something-year-old, ne? Like if I were to sit with a 60-year-old and me, you would think we are siblings because they're kind of wrinkled, and that is because of the long-term eczema that I had. So all along, I was given steroids and creams, and yeah, because it was eczema, they were treating the eczema, right? And only then later, I think it was 2014, 2013, 2014, I think it was 2014, I actually found a homeopath who diagnosed me with candida, which was the root cause of my eczema. So eczema was just a symptom. It was just the top level effects, you know, and I was busy treating the skin and not the root cause. That doctor, Shem, I didn't like him at the time, but I love him right now. He put me on this diet, ne? That diet was the hardest thing. I would cry every day. I would have skin breakouts because the candida was dying and releasing itself from my body. It felt like trauma. It was not the easiest of things. I thought I was being depressed. I would cry. I would want to quit. I lost weight. My clothes would not fit. I was like, oh my gosh, people are going to think I'm sick. I'm losing so much weight. My clothes don't fit. Right? And it was about a 6 months treatment. And after that, even eating, because I was one of those people, I would eat like a whole packet of sweets a day. I was one of those, if you know those people, like there's always a jar of sweets on their desk. That was me, and that jar would not last 2 days, and I would have to refill. That was like my daily life. And it was not easy. Why? Because peeling off the layers, you know, I had to peel off the candida layers for me to get to the bottom of it, for me to be able to live a fruitful life. Whereas now I can notice now, I still have those hectic sugar cravings, but I'm like, hey, candida, you're coming back. I know, we'll deal with you. And I know this is how I deal with you. Why? Because I went through that process of peeling the layers. So don't give up. When you are peeling the layers, don't give up when the going gets tough. When you know exactly what layers you are peeling and what you are going through. You know, not that you're going to stay in the struggle forever because, hey, Amandla, no. When you need to know what layers you are peeling, why you are peeling them, and what is happening for you to actually continue with the peeling so that you can have more insight in your life. Silwani, how do we connect with you? Okay, so my email address is lindiwen for Ntibukhalang at lindiwecoaching.com. I'm also on Facebook. It's Precious Lindiwe Ntibukhalang on Facebook. Yeah, those are my main contact details, and my cell phone number is 072-629-1732. So thank you so much, everybody. Please get into your element, know your spiritual gifts. Don't have any misconceptions about your spiritual gifts. Be the one who knows who you are. Be the one who actually gets in tune and in touch with who you are. You don't only have one spiritual gift, you have numerous spiritual gifts. So actually let's just trial it out. So we've got, it's not a lot of people, I think we can do it. Let me see in the comment section. I would like each person to just name name 2 of your spiritual gifts that you know for a fact, these 2 are my spiritual gifts. I just want to see something. So in the comment section, just name 2 of your spiritual gifts. If you don't know, just say, I don't know. That's also okay. That's perfect. If you do think you know, then that's perfect as well. So let's see what spiritual gifts we've got in this chat. Naledi, please share the special you're running. It is on my page, but I can reshare it again. Tata says, Aish. I feel you, girl. I feel you. Remember, there's no right or wrong with this. There's no right or wrong. I just want to see how easily it comes for the team that is here to actually say these two are my spiritual gifts, especially considering that we've demystified the fact that spiritual gifts are not just ubungoma, ubusangoma, ubunyanga, healing kind of gifts. So Naledi is saying project management. Naledi says Marakesho, project management. Business, okay. So Naledi, project management and business. Are you currently doing anything that is in line with project management and business? I wish this was a Zoom, hey, where I could actually hear you guys speaking. Silwane says cooking. So Silwane, how often do you cook? And are you only cooking for your family or are you cooking for other people as well? Now, lady, you're running a business. Yay! So you are part of your spiritual gift. Koketsu says coaching. I know you're already coaching. Tato says, I felt like wherever I lay my energy, I succeed. I was great in real estate, but I felt it was a saturated market. So, Tato, you know, the whole saturated market thing, like you're saying, you felt that wherever you laid your hands, you felt it would be a success. So sometimes, you know, it's like that concept of when people say people don't leave a company, they leave the manager. It's the same thing with a saturated market. People sometimes don't only go for the service, but they go because it's you. Simply because it is you. Remember the story of Umkomboti where Makumalo's Mkomboti tastes like this, they've made it the same, and Mazwane's Mkomboti tastes differently, but they've used the exact same thing. And different people will want to go to the different Mkombotis because those are the Mkombotis that need to be served. So you could find, Tato, that maybe there's somebody who needs to buy property and they are not buying the property because they are not getting that service from you. They are not getting that insight. There's a certain way in which you would have dealt with them in real estate that you are currently not doing. And because they are not getting that, yes, they are seeing the nice houses and yes, I think I want that house, but ish, there's something, man, I know it's fine, let me look for other houses. Simply because it's not Tato that's showing them the house. It's not Tato that is giving them that service. Koketso, you saying and you're also selling stuff? Awesome. Shanique is saying children is my thing, early childhood development, Mara, I am all over the place. Want my own business, I want to feed the homeless. Okay, so Shanique, I'll just take one, the feed that I want to feed the homeless. So I'll speak about this because I've personally gone through it and I'm currently in it. So with the feeding the homeless part of it, for the longest time, my spirit kept saying, you need to cook for the homeless, you need to cook for the homeless. And I'm like, me, I don't know how to cook with those massive pots. Those pots there by the gas stove. No, right? And this one time I decided, you know what? I'm just going to take what I have. It doesn't have to be much. Take what I have and cook for the homeless. And I did. And guess what? That was the first and last meal that I paid for. Because after that, because I did something that was in line with my spiritual gift, which was serving people through feeding them, whether they pay for it or not is a completely different story. But one of my spiritual gifts is serving people through feeding them. So feeding their stomachs, feeding their souls, etc. In this instance, it was feeding their stomachs, right? And ever since then, people just come and they say, hey, I know you're cooking for people. When are you cooking again? I want to donate butternut. I want to donate green pepper. I want to donate this. I want to donate that. And ever since then, I can cook for people without spending a cent from my own pocket. Why? Because I went into I could have easily said, "Ooh, there's so many NGOs out there. There's so many people cooking. So, cooking. I'm not gonna go cook for homeless people. It's just too many people going out there." Only to find that at that particular point, maybe what my soul needed was that smile and thank you, God bless you, right? Or it was that, "Oh, I'm gonna have food today. I didn't even know what I was gonna eat. Thank you." That's what my soul needed at the time. So you can actually, like, sometimes you cook food and it's too much, and the next day and it goes into the bin. So you could start off small. It doesn't, cooking for people does not necessarily have to be you there with a guest over with a 3 food. It could simply be, sometimes you decide, I'm on a diet, but you cook a big meal and you're not gonna eat supper, right? So your portion for that supper is something that you could just give to one homeless person, and it grows like that. Because if it is one of your spiritual gifts and you know it is, it will grow itself. Let's see. Children are your thing, so that's why you like Chef T. I must bring her to you to babysit, ne? Naledi, since joining hubby in our business, it has grown significantly. Yes, that makes sense, right? Why? Because as your if business is your spiritual gift, when you get into business, it grows, because that is where you are supposed to be. So the inclinations will be there. You'll be able to know what to do. Sometimes you'll find, I don't know what it is with me and cows today, but when there's a funeral or there's a wedding and there's a cow slaughtered, you'll find that if so-and-so slaughters the cow, then the meat tastes delicious, everybody can eat it, and it's just nice. But we all know that if that one slaughters the cow or the chicken or the goat or the whatever, if they just slaughter, people are going to get sick. The meat will take 5 hours to cook instead of less. I don't know how much time a freshly slaughtered cow is supposed to take to cook. So that's an example, right? But because one of the spiritual gifts is to serve through that activity, so it makes sense why it would grow when you are in your element. Silwani saying, studied hospitality management. I used to cook a lot, but I now only cook for friends and family. Okay, so you've mentioned that cooking is your spiritual gift, Silwane, and you even studied it. So you even, your spirit even guided you into it. So now you're only cooking for friends and family. Is that what your soul wants you to do, Silwane? Are you only here on this earth to cook for your friends and family? That is for you to answer. Okay, Naledi says, I'm a project manager by profession. I was a project manager for 10 years and excelled in the role and absolutely loved my job, but left corporate to join hubs in business. I love them both, but I must say I miss project management. So, Naledi, who says, remember that you've got more than one spiritual gift. So who says because you left corporate, you can no longer do project management? And remember, we said with your spiritual gifts, they don't have to be something that is a business. So you don't need to go and open up a project management business. You could find that if you're a person that loves project management, simple thing in your household is a project by itself. Having a family trip, when there needs to be a family trip, that is a project already. Having a meal, that is a project already. And even within the current business, it'll have its projects that you can use your project management skills in, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean because you left corporate, that project management now goes under the radar. It can still continue if it fulfills the mission for which you are brought on earth, you can actually still continue with it. Shanique is saying I was a project coordinator before I worked for doctors. Okay, alrighty, I think we've pretty much covered everybody, and now and actually I love the fact that when you mentioned your spiritual gifts, it was beyond the scope of the normal spiritual gifts that we associate the word spiritual gifts with. So thank you so much, everybody. Love and light. Be blessed and go out there and be in your element. Do what you were created to do on this earth, everywhere. If you were created to make comfortable bras for people like me, I don't like wearing bras, so there's that person out there who's not fulfilling their spiritual gift of making that sexy comfortable bra, because I'm yet to find it. So they're not serving me, they're not fulfilling their spiritual gift. Thank you so much, guys. Have a lovely day, and be sure to follow my page, because that's normally where I share a lot of activities of what I'm doing or any insights that I get. So yes, love and light. Go out there. If you think the market is saturated, go in and saturate it some more with your spiritual gifts. And trust me, you have your crowd, you have your market. Mwah!